It's like when you're giving your dog medicine, you wrap it in cheese, right? and the dog will eat whatever you've got in there. He doesn't care. But the same thing here. Here is our guidelines, and legal said this, and tech said this, and this on this and this. But we're the cheese, Robbie. We're the fun way to present and share that to get people going.
And that's the key part. It's all done in a very fun, as we've said many times, Fisher-priced sort of way, so that it's not intimidating.
Welcome to the AI Show from Think Labs. In the whirlwind of AI advancements and innovation, we do the deep dives and all the research, so you don't have to. We Fisher-price the essential news, updates, interviews, and breakthroughs of the week, providing actionable insight that impacts you, your teams, and your companies. Now, let's get started. Here's your hosts, Sam Stanton and Robbie Sawyer.
Well, hello, howdy, and konnichiwa.
How are you today?
Good.
It's good to see you, but I've seen you for the last 5 or 6 hours now,
right.
So we've been at it.
Welcome, everyone, to the AI Show. This is Robbie, and I am Sam, and we are here to discuss all things AI-ish that are relevant to working business knowledge professionals, Robbie.
Yeah, as you like to call it, AI literacy?
AI literacy.
Among other things. But
amongst other things.
Yeah.
And we didn't go anywhere exciting this week. We just were here busy responding to exciting things.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's an ongoing process. It's been a ton of fun to talk to. As we said last week, we went to Hawaii for a big show, and the results from that show have been a ton of fun. I mean, it's interesting to see how things are evolving, obviously, in the world of AI, but for us specifically, as we talk to more and more people, the needs that they have are becoming a little bit clearer for us. And it's not always about teach me how to do it, which we can. It's really more becoming more, at least for us, can you help me do that?
Yeah, and even before that, it's like someone poked the bear and they're waking up going, okay, I need to kind of do this thing. Now, where do I begin?
Right.
Right?
No, for sure. I mean, and that's, yes. And that's important for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a large enterprise, great company, or a small to medium-sized business, you got to have a plan.
And I think some of the stuff that's crystallized a little bit more over the last couple of weeks is that reinforcing that this isn't necessarily about technology or a language model or AI this or this. It's really about change. It's a change in what's going to happen and what is happening. And it's a change in which and the ways in which you deal with this innovation, right? You can't do it the way you've always done it. It's not going to work.
Right. And it's being in the right headspace, period, for change, not just the innovation component, but you've got to have the ability mentally to realize that you have to change. You have to. And that's been fun because we've been able to back the truck up a little bit and say, hey, everyone, before you start diving into here's what we're going to do and here's how we're going to do it, it's kind of cool to reset and get everyone to start thinking about that, start doing things a little bit differently, give them the freedom and the open-mindedness to go do that. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I mean, what's kind of been flushed out as it relates to someone actually having a plan?
Yeah, so again, our first pillar is AI literacy, and initially that was just a flagship of here's AI, here's the history, here's generative, here's specific to your industry and how to do that. And that's kind of the big gut punch wow that a brand is then able to see and say to their people or their association, hey, we hear you, we're looking at this. But what we've seen now evolve is this is going into the next level of, one, the brands and the boards have to figure out, hey, how and what are we going to do around this? So hopefully they're figuring that out. If they need help,
sure,
we're helping them do that. Really fun program around that. But then after that is, how do we slow roll this out with our people in a planned, methodical way? And so we've created a couple different courses, if you will, that will walk them through that. One being change, two being, again, a deeper dive into AI and how it's already been around us. We just maybe haven't acknowledged it. Mm-hmm. Three is what's generative, and specifically how is that going to work around with you. And the fourth piece is just a great way. It's like when you're giving your dog medicine, you wrap it in cheese, right? and the dog will eat whatever you've got in there. He doesn't care. But the same thing here. Here is our guidelines, and legal said this, and tech said this, and this on this and this. But we're the cheese, Robbie. We're the fun way to present and share that to get people going.
And that's the key part. It's all done in a very fun, as we've said many times, Fisher-priced sort of way, so that it's not intimidating.
Right.
And so that it's not dry and boring and all of that, so that each area is, 30, 45 minutes long?
And it's scaffolded, if you will, that it keeps building on each other. It keeps building not only in knowledge, but in excitement. So by the time you hit your fourth class, which are, again, like as you said, shorter format,
sure,
you're now like, okay, I'm ready, let's go. But the cool thing is the brand just subtly was able to deploy and give, here's our focus, here's our direction, here's the guidelines in which we're going to do it, here's the tools you can use, and here's how you can go start.
Yeah, but then taking it past that, it's like, now it's okay, here's all of that wrapped up in a nice package, but then what?
So that, I mean, all of this is iterative, right? This is all going back to thinkers and how do you go through a process. And yeah, we've been in a deep, deep, deep AI creative wormhole this week looking at what's the natural progression. And we kind of came to the fact that it seems that it's so valuable for a brand or an organization or a team to know that they have delivered the education and the knowledge to their people, that the people understood it. They've also included the guidelines and parameters in which the brand's going to do this with, and that they're now knowledgeable and confident to start their AI journey, to start applying it in their work, but to have some verification sort of process. So look, we're going to give you the keys to the Ferrari, but before you get to go drive that thing, we need you just to go through these couple steps. And then HQ is happy because we checked the box because Robbie went through those things and he gets it. And you're happy because you've now been given direction. So you can go not be a closet user of AI, right, but do it right there at your desk.
Sure.
So having that full circle check and balances from first, we get it with the flagship, to the 4, here's what AI looks like, to the certification curriculum is really cool. All specific and built around the brand.
Yes. And that's important as well. It's not generic, or it's built around their culture, if you will, their pillars, all of those elements.
And again, it's agnostic to, you guys might be very, very precise in your legal and what you can and can't do, or you might be, hey, I think we should all just play and whatever. You guys might be, we are using Microsoft Copilot because I've got a Microsoft Windows 95 tattoo right here, says CTO, and that's what we're using. Doesn't matter. It's general guidelines and principles that are applied here, but whatever they are and whatever your major critical considerations are, that's what's incorporated in the curriculum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, so as I said a minute ago, it's like, okay, now someone's completely certified, right? And then
professional AI certified. Won't that look really nice in your LinkedIn?
Right, yes. Yet, how do I engage with generative AI?
So
I mean, that's the next step. To your point a second ago, it's like, okay, now they're ready. Now what? So,
well, the fifth of the certification classes is the actual. Here's your training wheels, and take your first little thing. Here's how you go use it for email, right? Here's how you can have it look at an industry report and make sense of it. Here's how you can have it summarize something for you. So we get those basics. And again, we say it's 5 and we say it's only maybe 20 minutes per, But that's also dependent on you guys come to the table and say, well, we're going to use these 30 different tools and we need one for each of those, which that's fine. It's interesting, the LMS systems, the learning management systems that we're playing around with to see which we're fully going with will allow for that customization of what's that curriculum.
Yeah. Along those lines a little bit, let's talk about what we've confirmed this week also with an industry association in the hospitality world called SITE, which is a huge incentive the biggest incentive focused travel association out there. And we're going to be going to Vancouver for the SITE Texas. So the Texas chapter.
Robbie, we're going for poutine.
You're going for poutine. I'm not, but that's fine. But the SITE Texas Technology and Innovation Summit will be in Vancouver in April, next month. Oh, man. It's going to be here
next month.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a couple different things. We're going to be sharing the fun quick start keynote or workshop.
The high level
view. But then to your point a second ago, we're also going to be breaking it and do a couple different breakouts. One, they're both called prompting, and we decided
prompt
like a pro. And we're going to be focused on, because this particular association is divided between, I think what they're calling partners and planners.
Right.
Planners being just that, planners within the organizations that plan these events. But then the partners
and the events, so everyone knows who's not in that industry, are conventions, they're trade shows, they're incentive programs, they're education programs.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're talking for Fortune 500 sort of companies on down to whatever.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the other side is the people that support those. The partners, which are either hotels,
resorts, convention,
and
visitor bureaus, all of those folks.
And if there's anything we've seen, and it's so cliche, but this AI stuff can be used absolutely everywhere. So it's fun to separate the groups, and Robbie, with his crazy experience in that side of the world, will be really getting down to the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of how that can and will and is affecting those partners. And then fortunately in our last couple months of helping some pretty big associations and companies plan their events with AI, I'll be doing that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun because, again, we've learned all about, using your scenario, we've learned all about the do's and don'ts of what I'm supposed to do with my company, right? All of the checks and the boxes that I need to check to make sure I do this and do that. But to be able to sit down with a group of people in that world to say, okay, let's actually focus on what you do when you get into your office. And let's focus on helping you understand truly how the right prompt or the right the right way to engage and collaborate with AI specific to you and your job, your responsibility. That's when people's eyes just go, oh my God, I had no idea.
And I love a little bit of a spoiler, but in that deck of images and things we'll be sharing, this is so true, and it's going to hit so far home. And it's an image of a bunch of kindergartners sitting around in a circle having an amazing discussion with their teacher when they used to listen to adults before they got older, right? And there's little bubbles above them, and one of the kids says, when I grow up, I'm going to write the most amazing emails, or I'm going to take the best meeting notes ever. No one ever said that.
No, and that's not what they were hired for.
Right. So this is truly bringing it home there. The other thing was that we should really shout out to the site board in putting this together, because I think this will be a very unique program as opposed to a bunch of people talking about future and all quantum computing and all that stuff. They're really approaching this and have built this whole thing with AI in an approachable, tactical, practical manner. So it's like, we're not just talking about this stuff. This was designed with that. Everything we're going to be doing here. And that was fascinating because our good friend from Merritt's, who's kind of the big papa of collaboration and pulling everyone in and summarizing and figuring out what are the key takeaways, which there is a complete science to it. We know all about that. He is going to do that at the end of the day, but working in an iterative space, we've been working with him, and we're actually going to do a side-by-side with here's the wisdom and knowledge and protocols that we've always used, and that person is Greg Bogue, by the way, and he's going to lead and design that. But I think we're also going to have some AI doing the same thing. So we'll be able to do a Coke Pepsi and say, hey, how's this going? Did this keep the human element that we so like and love? Or what I think we're going to find out is that, yes, I would like both.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to have it be both, as you always say, actionable and tactical.
Yeah.
Right?
And approachable. That's our new word.
And approachable, because, again, it's an eye-opener and a wow. And it's just fun to be a part of something where you can share this with people and allow them to see firsthand. To your point, it's not a futurist talking about quantum computing and flying cars. They're given something that they can use immediately.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
And it's happening right here in front of you as we speak. It's happening, but it's also been happening for the last however many months, putting all this stuff together. And then going forward, AI will be used to culminate the whole thing. And how did this make sense? What landed, what didn't? Overall, how was the event? What could we do better for the next one? And the really fun thing about this is we did the very first Site Technology Summit. We opened that, and that was with the adoption of this crazy thing that really wasn't going to take off, very trendy, called social media.
Right.
So now we get to come back with the next crazy trending, I don't know if it will ever work, Robbie, AI.
Yeah, it's full circle for sure.
So that's fun. So we're getting ready for that, and quite frankly, we're filling up our dance card with all kinds of different versions of that, not only with different chapters there, but with different organizations, associations, and brands who, as I said earlier, have been someone poked the bear somewhere, and they're now waking up and saying, okay, let's go.
So let me put you on the spot here. And the more we talk to people within different organizations about AI and how it can impact them and their business, can you share what you think is going to happen in the next 6 months, in the next year, as it relates to businesses? Do you think that literally people are going to start to say, hey, we need somebody focused specifically on AI, no matter the size of the company? Because right now what we've learned with some of our customers is that they just simply don't have the bandwidth to go and learn all of the elements necessary to really be able to utilize AI at its highest level. They don't have the bandwidth to do that. So we've had people reach out to us, say, awesome, learned so much, but can you help us do this?
I think that's a big jump for people. I mean, I think the answer is yes, they need to do that, right? But I think I'm still trying to figure out as an executive, as a CEO, how this is going to work and where this is going to go. I don't know if I'm supposed to get somebody or just have my existing people, and hopefully we can help them ascertain that. But so I think initially, and that's one of the fun things too, is helping people figure that out. We don't have the right answers, but we've got the right options because everyone has a different solution. Some people are going to be more legal minded and worried, and others are not. So it's like, hey guys, when you go through this process and start this journey, here are your different options for this. Here are your different options for this. Here's how you would go do that. So that is happening. I do think you need to have a team and an individual leading that team and or a partner that is keeping the eye to the sky and going, holy cow, did you see what's happening this week with this and this? Yeah. And then again, we keep saying that. And then looking back at our existing processes and what our industry is doing and saying, where is our application there? Would this be useful, or is this just a flashy light and whatever?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to, I mean, we're not, I don't think, we're seeing that now. People are starting to get more serious. They're all going to approach it in a different manner, right? And so navigating through that. And then the other side of that is this is becoming a more common practice for the general employee to start looking and thinking about these things. Whether they want it or not, when they go in and do a Google search now, they're getting generative AI responses.
Yeah.
So it's just natural that they're going to say, hey, are we cool with this or not? Or how should we interact with this or not? How does that work, right?
Yeah.
So it's imperative to start giving that guidance to the team. Otherwise, you can't be upset with what they decide to do.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, as we've gotten through this, when we first got into it, the only available option from a language model perspective was ChatGPT, right? So as we've gotten into this, and we have fun, and we continue to develop Boggler, and it's amazing. We've talked about it on other shows. We'll talk about it again on future shows. But what we've realized is to get the best out of AI, right? We've realized that, yeah, ChatGPT is awesome, but to get the best out of everything, you really got to kind of be working with multiple models.
Yeah, and as an organization, you don't necessarily get to do that.
Right. No, that's my point.
Because the mindset is I got to choose.
Yeah.
Am I going to use Microsoft or Google? Which one am I going to use?
Right.
No one ever said, yes, use both. Right. And that's kind of what you need to be able to do. You need to set up those parameters and protect, because as we see, yes, all those kind of are plugging back into the back end of Boggler, but in the meantime, just to get stuff done quickly, ourselves are jumping to, hey, I need to write something, Claude's better at that, or I need to do some complex math and algorithms. I'm going to go use Wolfram or whatever it may be. Or, I mean, honestly, it's fascinating to see how fast Google is now coming in and how well their stuff works.
Yeah.
And then, like that thing last week, if you didn't go check that out, Grok, it's crazy talk. Now, that's running off Mistral, the French thing, but yeah, it's a constantly evolving. So you can't make your opinions or you can't make your guidelines based on one moment in time.
Right.
How's that?
No, it's true. I mean, you've got to be open to understanding that. You just said it a second ago. You got to have your finger on the pulse of what's happening, because it's changing. It continues to change.
It's funny. I was going back and forth with a company and a CEO who's really leading the drive. As I think that's where it starts, is that the CEO needs to say, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it, and then pull the team together, and then they keep driving it. But the CEO is playing with some of the stupid nerdy tools that I do. And he was like, hey, how did you do the SAM AI, and how does that work? And I was kind of blown away and enthusiastic at the same time. It's like, cool, man, you should be doing that. But you also need to have someone else who can do that when you're too busy doing CEO stuff.
Yeah, which is all the time. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that's another fun thing to throw in here too. You know, our whole thing that we talked about before, if you mess around enough, you're going to find things out.
You could have just said that and then beeped it out. Yeah. I don't know how hard that is.
So the other word starts with an F.
Right.
Okay. And so there we are messing around with synthetic video, and there was SAM AI. We saw all that stuff, and wow, isn't that crazy? But because we did that, and because we played with it, and because we understood what it can and can't do, when a client goes, man, this is a real mess. I'm doing this sales cruise on this stupid nice ship, but I've got people from 5 different countries who basically hate each other and don't like that we're sharing a common language or common communication. How in the world can we explain, it was our AI photography stuff, how to use it to 5 different groups, right? And 2 weeks ago, the answer would be, I don't know. And this week, it's like, what do you want it to say? And here's the different languages. And had some guy who doesn't look like any of them, because it can't look like any of them, because it'd be biased that way, speak in each of those people's native tongue and give them that direction. So that personalization was done like that, which then kind of blew the mind of the head of the company going, wow, I need to speak to my people on a daily basis around the world. How does this work?
Yep.
None of that would have happened if I'd just been reading headlines and said, next, next, next.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long we need to go today.
I actually have written down, it's like this podcast is evolving like our business is.
Completely.
So it's, as we initially started talking, and nothing about our business has changed relative to the tools that we're developing.
At all.
On the contrary.
It's just where they fit in and shoe in for uses.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, when we start talking about how we can help our clients that may or may not have the infrastructure to support hiring and utilizing AI at its fullest, highest level of capability, we can help them with that. But the tools that we're developing only enhance
and it was like this
on a huge level.
Just yesterday we had a guy in here who was he's crazy savvy and technical and business guy,
big entrepreneur,
on steroids, just going through everything like us. It was really fun, and he gets it. He gets the power, he gets the use, he gets the thing, and then. But what he doesn't get or doesn't want is to go mess with it. Mm-hmm. He's like, yes, I agree. I understand what you can do. Please go do that.
Yeah.
And that was, again, I think we shared this last week, the ILI, which is the inference.
Coffee, right?
Yeah, it's good coffee too.
Right.
It's inference, logic, and intelligence. So basically, we understand what your needs are or what your desired outcome is, and we do all the algorithm, recipe building, instruction building, and put it in the form of a simple button.
Yeah.
So when you're ready for whatever it is that you need, you literally hit the button and boom, there's your whole analysis of what happened in an interview or what happened on a sales call or done like that, specifically to your needs.
Yeah, built around what your sales culture or philosophy might be.
Again, so not teaching them how to do that. They don't want to do that. They want us to build it for them.
Right. So anyway, that's fun.
That's fun. So if you need a custom ILI, and I'm not talking coffee.
Right.
I'm talking inference.
Right.
And for those, that's your new word. That's your 25-cent word for today. Inference is what AI is doing. It is looking at your request. It's looking at information that responds to it, and it infers from that a response for you.
Okay.
And generates it. Pretty strong.
Pretty awesome, and still a head shaker, head scratcher, whatever. Even the more and more. How many times have we been in here, and either you've run into my office or what, but it's like, dude, you got to see this. You're not going to believe what I just figured out.
Every day.
Every day, and again, it's you figure it out again by messing around, but you figure it out by just collaborating, just asking crazy questions. Like we said to the guy we met with yesterday, who we know to be an incredibly intense individual, who from time to time can just. But
we shut him down.
But
with overwhelm,
you can handle. You can engage with your AI in whatever manner you choose to do that. You can, and for him being a super intense guy, you don't have to change that. Now, if you were talking to a human, you would,
right.
But you can be as intense as you want to be with the AI when you engage with it. It's not going to quit or forget. It's not going to quit, and it's not going to turn you into HR.
The fun and rewarding thing is I've never seen something that you know nothing about one day. Engage with it, kind of get an understanding, have it teach you. I mean, it's like me helping our developers working on something completely complicated because it's a different point of view, but I can speak to them because I'm using AI to do so.
Yeah.
I have no business talking that language, but I send it to them and they're like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, maybe we should apply that. But the ability to go learn about something completely new, think about potential opportunities, and then be sitting there when someone goes, how are we going to do something? You go, let me tell you. Like last night, Robbie, my dinner, we'll close with this.
All right.
I pull all this stuff out onto the kitchen counter, and I can cook some pretty mean mac and cheese, but I don't go much deeper than that. But using AI, I said, okay, first of all, are these mushrooms still good? Because I don't know when I got them. And it said no. And I was like, okay, this asparagus, I love asparagus, but how can I cook this quickly, easily, healthily, blah, 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 blah. And it tells you.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
We're going to have just a hamburger steak, but why not figure out how to do it right? And I asked it, what do you need to know for me to do that right? And it said, what are you cooking on? What pan are you cooking in? And it took its own measurements or whatever to figure out what that was, and then told me precisely how to do that, the timing, everything. And it was absolutely the most perfectly cooked, I don't know if it was prepared right, but cooked burger. So it's just taking an idiot to a pro.
Amazing.
All right. So go cook some burgers this weekend and use your AI to help you do that. And we will catch up next week.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning into the AI show from Think Labs. Don't miss out on next week's episode where we'll continue to Fisher-Price the latest in AI that will make impact for you and your organization. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update and visit redbutton.ai to learn more about innovation for professionals and organizations. By the way, I'm Boggler, Sam and Robbie's professional assistant that takes care of all their busy work. Ever think about all that repetitive, mind-numbing, time-sucking busy work I could knock out for you? That's it for now. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, make it an awesome week.